Hey, good morning, everybody. Before I get into the music, I'm going to give you a little history lesson. John Newton was a merchant ship captain. He was also a slave trader. And in the late 1760s, early 1770s, when he wasn't bringing the settlers and slaves to America, he was frequently traveling between the new colonies in England. He served in the Royal Navy above the ship HMS Harwich, and after attempting to desert, he was relieved of his post and sent aboard a passing slave vessel. On a trip back to England, the ship he was on, you got to remember the ships in the early 1700s were made out of wood. And occasionally they would get grounded. You know, the power of the ocean is pretty strong. I was stationed on a steel ship that could rock 45 degrees, a battleship at that. I was on a battleship. That ship displaced 198,000 tons of water. And it still rocked 45 to 60 degrees in rough seas. Imagine what a wooden ship would do. Well, his ship nearly sank. And he prayed. And he turned his life over to God. And he said, if you get me out of this mess, I'll quit doing what I'm doing. So he quit the slave trade business. And he just went into basically mercantile business between the colonies and England. And in 1779, he wrote a song about his conversion to Christianity called Amazing Grace. And that line where he was talking about God saved a wretch like me, that's him talking about him selling humans into the slave business. He felt guilty, like we all do sometimes about certain things. That song is the most popular hymn in the world. And it was so popular in America that it is sung at every inauguration. It is part of that early American history. He went on to become a pastor, a minister. He wrote several books. He wrote other songs too. He wrote a lot of books on the African slave trade, which he became an abolitionist. He wanted to abolish slavery. I don't think he ever saw it come to fruition, but because it was another 100 years before it ended. Almost 90-something years. So I don't think he saw it ended. But he wrote several other songs. Let me find them again. Glorious things of thee are spoken, and how sweet the name of Jesus sounds. He wrote those two hymns also. He wrote them, he left the Church of Olney in 1780 to serve at a church in London. And then later he published a collection of religious letters called Cardiphonia, which discussed his support for the teachings of John Wesley, the leader of the Methodist movement. So there you go. Amazing Grace. Now let's sing the song. Now that you know the history of it. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. The Lord has promised good to me. His word my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we'd first begun. Than when we first begun. Y'all have a good day.